Act as if what you do makes a difference. It does. William James. Life is an iterative process, a series of days and decisions. It's only been a few weeks, and look at me, I'm already changing. This quote is one of many that continues to inspire me to find and take actions that with any luck would add the most value to my life and the lives of others that I can manage, big and small. The choices that I make when nobody is watching oftentimes matter most. Just like last week, of course I'm bringing up a figure I don't know too much about, but I've heard much about. That may end up being a trend at this point, as I have so much to learn, and thus so much to look forward to. Let's add him to the list of people, places, and things that I'd like to learn more about. One of the most powerful aspects of this quote, to me, is found in the first three words, act as if, which primes me to leverage one of the most powerful tools I know I have, imagination, so that even when I feel that what I do won't make a difference in the scheme of things, after all, I am but a series of pixels and waveforms housed in a tiny little channel with 3 subscribers as of the date I record this video. Why should I act as if anything matters at this point? Well, it's because there is meaning to be found when I act in such a way. In pursuing what is most deeply meaningful, well, that's the adventure of life as far as I can tell. A corollary to this quote would also apply to the inverse of action, inaction, which would include the reality of what you don't do will also make a difference. And finally, I love that this quote doesn't delineate actions taken publicly versus privately. It just recognizes the impact that your actions will inevitably have. Some aspects of life do need an audience. Like this one. This video literally needs you to really exist. But this public piece at the same time was prepared and produced privately. And that's time I chose to spend. Why? That's the question. It could be because I believe that this can make a difference, no matter how small. It's already making a difference in my life. I've had to consciously act out the things I've been dreaming about, or else I'll find myself stuck in a position where the things I say won't ring true to the way I live, which is an all too familiar position. And taking action in this way feels new, but strangely, I feel driven mainly by intuition. I'm just going with what feels right, and treating this process of becoming with the importance that it deserves. And with that, what's up and welcome back to Congruent Academy, the place for people in process. Cal here. Thank you for tuning in to another episode of Week in Review. Today, I'm looking forward to talking a little bit about the importance of importance. Having meaning in the day sustains me. You might look around and see this blank screen I'm occupying as being totally devoid of life and thus meaning, but I don't see it that way. I see it as potential awaiting actualization, a process which I'm undertaking seriously, because that process is the most important thing in my life. And what does it mean when something is one of the most important things in one's life? I suppose that isn't really my place to say. Well, for me, with Congruent Academy, it means that I will sacrifice my time and attention to work at making this into something special. It means I will forego difficult situations and work to transcend them in pursuit of what I find of maximal value and meaning. It means that I'm playing this game out with conviction, and knowing that error-prone as I am, I can start to shine in time, by iterating and striving to produce something slightly more coherent and valuable to you. That becomes an exercising in prioritizing for me. To put everything on the line, to be brave enough to make a decision and to stick to it, to be humble enough to recognize that investing in the process means learning how to tolerate risk and error, so that I can recalibrate and be more informed. To turn L's into lessons. Like all things that are scary and difficult, courage, action, and awareness are necessary antecedents. Building something like this from the ground up is quite an undertaking. There's a sense of loss of the familiar, some disorientation. But I can take it easy too. I don't have to have everything together all at once. If I did, then this wouldn't be the place for people in process. It would be the place for people that have everything together. The idea can only come to life with execution, follow-through, feedback, readjustment, and a next iteration. That's the process of becoming for me. Now, let's celebrate today's person in process. Person in process, da-da-da-da-da, still need to write this song. Today, we are celebrating Dana Does 44. Dana is a wife, a mother, and a fitness junkie. Put it all together, and she is a hashtag beast. We are rooting for her as she keeps moving forward and up. Patience is part of the process, and so is never giving up. Dana embodies that, and that is something we could all learn from. Happy Dana Day, everyone. You got this. I don't know how to end this segment yet, so I'll just keep on going. Word of the week. Word of the week. Do. Today's word of the week is entropy. Entropy, the degradation of the matter and energy in the universe to an ultimate state of inert uniformity. A process of degradation or running down, or a trend to disorder. I chose this word because this is what we're competing against, and will eventually succumb to. Total annihilation. And I must resist that in my actions by living fully for as long as I can. It also reminds me to let go of things when they reach their necessary end. To cling to something for too long, especially if it is long overdue to let go of, and not letting go could mean you never move ahead. That makes it so necessary for me to resist entropy at all costs. Entropy. Oh man, entropy. Scary reality. The ultimate degradation of us all. You know, it's not here yet though, so resist entropy at all costs, amigos. Okay, now for Week in Review. Week in Review. Yeah. This week, I became a bit more clear about how I'm measuring success in the foundational aspects of Congruent Academy. While you can use this as a point of reference, I encourage you to design a goal and habit tracker that works for you. Week in Review is an opportunity for you watching to reflect on the week you've had. Please take this opportunity to reflect and celebrate and learn from your week in a way that works for you. I also built this miniature bookshelf. As you can see, it's just for the books that I've actually read. There's a separate library with all the books that I'd like to read. I think I have a picture of it laying around here somewhere. Oh yeah, here it is. One day at a time. One page at a time. As it was for me last week, the biggest thing I'm celebrating this week is creating and producing another video. I'm grateful that I have the tools that I need to make that possible. I'm also grateful that I will be able to watch this back and learn something that I can improve on the next time around. It's really liberating to know that I'm capable of starting something new and sticking to it. Though, in the back of my mind, I do often fear that it'll fade away once enough failures reawaken the dream killer known as doubt. But let's look at some of the major wins of the week. Created another video, built a bookshelf here at CA, and began constructing the first building of Congruent Academy. You'll see more about that in the next video. And now it's time for one of my favorite segments, r/DecidingtoBeBetter. Number 1. Wash the plate immediately. Close Netflix after watching one episode. Keep your phone out of bed and only pick it up after your morning routine. Make grocery lists and stick to them. Don't wake up in the middle of the night to get a snack. Don't avoid phone calls. Reply to text messages. Talk often to your family and friends. Don't cancel plans last minute. Don't be a loser who chickens out and takes the path of least resistance. Life will not be the same. Resist entropy. Side note, I chose entropy as the word of the week precisely because of this post. Number 2. I just did something that I've been putting off for months. The stress of not doing it was starting to eat away at me, but I kept putting it off. It literally took me 20 minutes. 20 minutes for months of stress. Why am I like this? Procrastination sucks. You got that right. You got that right. Number 3. Stop fixating on what you should have done by now and just do what you can today. Advice. We hold ourselves back by thinking we should have accomplished something already. We compare ourselves to other people and deem that because they have done X, have Y, or accomplished Z before we have, that they are better in some way, or that their life is more meaningful. Life is not linear. We also have no idea what the mind of someone else looks like. By the amount of prescription drugs prescribed for depression and anxiety, and the amount of people struggling with addiction, most people aren't happy at all. They don't view their lives as good. They don't feel a sense of inner peace ever. The grass is always greener on the other side. Once you realize that you have all you need within, you can then let go of this pressure to be better than anyone else, or let go of the obsession to achieve what someone else has. You can still achieve whatever you want if you put in the action each day. We can't have everything, but we can do a lot more than we realize. We don't live in a mindless world, where if someone else accomplishes something we can't. It might seem that way a lot. With the limitation mindset and me versus you environment the world seems to be in, it's understandable to think life is a competition. There is no competition, and you're just running in circles thinking there is. Happy people understand this. They understand that all they can control is their input to a situation, not the output. They put the journey over the destination. Dreams and goals are beautiful things, but how do you relate to them? Is it with angst and fear you'll never achieve? Or is it with the mindset that you can do small things each day and eventually get there, but also be happy along the way? Our lives consist of tiny moments stringed together, a bunch of present moments that eventually become the past. All we can do is right here, right now. So what are you waiting for? It's time to get out there and do, instead of wishing you could. It's time to be the person you want to be, instead of wishing you were someone else. You got this. I got this. We got this. Let's go. Story time! Time. This week's story time is a poem, but don't worry, it is not a Congruent Academy original. This is a reading of If by Rudyard Kipling. If by Rudyard Kipling. If you can keep your head when all about you are losing theirs and blaming it on you, if you can trust yourself when all men doubt you, but make allowance for their doubting too, if you can wait and not be tired by waiting, or being lied about, don't deal in lies, or being hated, don't give way to hating, and yet don't look too good, nor talk too wise. If you can dream and not make dreams your master, if you can think and not make thoughts your aim, if you can meet with triumph and disaster and treat those two impostors just the same, if you can bear to hear the truth you've spoken, twisted by knaves to make a trap for fools, or watch the things you gave your life to broken, and stoop and build them up with worn-out tools, if you can make one heap of all your winnings and risk it on one turn of pitch and toss, and lose, and start again at your beginnings, and never breathe a word about your loss, if you can force your heart and nerve and sinew to serve your turn long after they are gone, and so hold on when there is nothing in you, except the will which says to them, hold on, if you can talk with crowds and keep your virtue, or walk with kings nor lose the common touch, if neither foes nor loving friends can hurt you, if all men count with you, but none too much, if you can fill the unforgiving minute with 60 seconds worth of distance run. Yours is the earth and everything that's in it. And, which is more, you'll be a man, my son. These are some big ifs, but this poem is guiding the trajectory of the life that I lead here and IRL, leading a driven and balanced life unaffected by that which one cannot control, yet self-assured enough to still move forward despite the aspects of life that can change one's state. At least that's what I endeavor to do, and I'm frankly grateful to be reminded of with each reading of this incredible poem. So, to conclude this week in review, I just want to say thank you for watching. It's been incredibly liberating to find this focus, investing in the work and practicing and getting it done. Doubt is one of the most destructive things, doubt and inaction. And it can often be bred by people who doubt themselves. I know that's how it was in me. I doubted myself for a long time, telling myself that doing something like this would be impossible and nobody would want to watch it. And at this stage, it doesn't appear that very many people are watching it, but that's not really the point. The point is that despite those voices in my head or on the interweb, I'm taking action. I'm doing the work. Great. I'm taking action. I'm doing the work rather than throwing my hands in the air or pointing my finger. And it is disorienting. The feeling of going from stasis to being in motion. And that's why I like to wind down at the end of the video. Reset. Each congruent action that I take on and off screen feels like an exercise in transcending entropy. It's meaningful to me though, and that's what's made it possible for me. What has taking action made possible for you? Share your response in the comments down below. That does it for another episode of Week in Review. Thanks so much for watching, and until next time, power to the people and process.